Millions of Australians will have no say in who inherits their superannuation. New research from Super Consumers Australia has found around a third of those surveyed say they had not made a death benefit nomination, despite having an average of $101,000 in their super. So let's get more on this. Xavier O'Halloran is the CEO of Super Consumers Australia and joins us now from Sydney. Xavier O'Halloran, thank you for your time. Now, before we get into the results of the research that you conducted, tell us about death benefit nominations, that is, who gets your super balance and insurance benefits when you pass away. What is a binding and non-binding nomination?
Yeah, that's right. So there are two main ways you can nominate where your money goes from your superannuation when you pass away. There's a binding nomination, which, as the sound of it indicates, is something that is legally binding and the super fund is required to follow when distributing your money after you pass away. And then you can also make at most funds what's called a non-binding nomination. So this has different rules around it, and basically the super funds aren't bound to follow it as strictly and can go out and look at who else might be eligible to take that money when you pass away as well. So could be looking at extended family, past relationships, anyone who's in a kind of financially dependent relationship with you.
So these are, they're instructions. What did your research show about the instructions that the average Aussie has?
Yeah, so we found, unfortunately, a lot of people don't have a binding death benefit nomination in place. About 6.5 million Australians don't have one in place at the moment. And what that means is basically the super fund doesn't have a clear instruction of where the money should go. So they have to independently look at who the different people that might be eligible to claim are. So that could include going out to a whole broad section of your extended family or anyone who's kind of financially dependent on you to find out. And we found out from an ASIC, the regulator's review earlier in the year, that this can delay the time that it takes to get the money to you by months, and in some cases years, as they sort through all the different parties that could potentially inherit the money. Now, the other bad thing that can result is the money might not go where you intended it to go either. They might find that there are, say, a previous relationship, or they might find that there's a new child in the relationship that perhaps is eligible to claim, that the super fund might decide deserves some of that money, even if you had a different intent for where it should go. So that's why it's really important to have what's called a binding death benefit nomination in place.
Yeah, because even if there is a just outcome after all that would all take a lot of time, and that just outcome not assured.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Particularly if people are reliant on that money. A lot of people, obviously, in retirement, that's what superannuation is for, will be looking to draw down on that money. There might be a spouse, usually it is, that's passed away, and that might form part of their income to cover their cost of living costs. So you don't want to be delaying getting access to that income by months or years, because that will have a real impact on the family budget.
Now, what do people need to do? And I don't know if there was any, groups that you've identified in that in particular that need to do this, but to get those binding nominations.
Yeah, so we really encourage people to contact their superannuation funds, find out what they've got in place at the moment. It's quite likely our research overestimates the number of people that do actually have a binding nomination in place. When ASIC did a similar review, they found it was as low as 1 in 10 actually had one. So you need to contact your superannuation fund, find out what the process is. It differs a little at each fund. For most funds, you will need to write down who you want the money to go to, have that witnessed by someone who is not eligible to receive the money, and then you have to have them sign it and send it off to the superannuation fund to create an effective binding nomination. Now, some funds let you do that online, which is a huge improvement, but unfortunately that's just a small handful of funds and not everyone has developed that capability yet.